What is up, everybody? Here we are again with another huge news and fact roundup covering everything Breath of the Wild related. In some of our last videos, Aonuma gave several facts about where Breath of the Wild takes place on the official timeline. He let us know the story had nothing to do with the Wind Waker, that we'll be using Gorons, Zoras, and other races as companion characters and much more. So check those videos out after this one if you haven't already. Links to everything will be in the description and in the pinned comment. In today's video, we'll be covering Breath of the Wild news as always, such as the game offering a pro mode, which is a bit different than the traditional hero mode, how the game went gold on February 3rd, and more, as well as a bit of important Nintendo Switch news where Nintendo discusses the power of the system. So thank you for your interest in this video, and I hope you enjoyed as much as I have. Make sure you like and subscribe so you don't miss out on future Nintendo news and analysis videos, and be sure to leave your thoughts on today's news in the comments below, as well as anything that I may have missed, and if we use it on a future video, I'll be sure to give you a shout out and credit you for bringing it to my attention. And with all of that out of the way, let's get started. First up, the best news we've had in a long time. After 6 years of development and multiple delays, Breath of the Wild has gone gold. For those that don't know, when a game goes gold, it means the game has finally been fully finished. Development of the game has completely ended and the game has been submitted to the publisher, in this case Nintendo, to receive their seal of approval in order for the game to be published and sent worldwide for sale. So yes, finally, Nintendo has finished production on The Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild. The news comes via a tweet from Monolith Soft, who posted a picture of the party held to celebrate the final milestone. In the photo, we see both Monolith Soft members who helped develop the game celebrating alongside the Nintendo staff. This also means the follow-up to Breath of the Wild will begin development soon, so we can get ready to cover news on the next home console Zelda game. But on a serious note, the handheld team behind A Link Between Worlds and Triforce Heroes have been working on an unannounced Zelda game for about 2 years now. So I would expect an announcement of that game at E3 this year for a holiday launch, as A Link Between Worlds and Triforce Heroes both took about 2 years to be developed. So if Nintendo follows this same pattern, we could be getting 2 Zelda games for the Switch this year. But what are your thoughts on this? Nintendo has no announced Zelda games coming after Breath of the Wild, so what type of game would you like to see announced at E3, just a few months after the Nintendo Switch releases? If this is a topic that you are interested in, I have a video linked in the description and in the pinned comment about what you can realistically expect from the Zelda series in the near future, which pulls information from recent interviews from the man in charge of the Zelda series, Aonuma. Next up, we have a pro setting for Breath of the Wild. Now, we don't know just yet if the game will feature a hero mode, which has been in almost every Zelda game since being introduced in Skyward Sword, so it would make sense for this game to also have this feature added in. But a blast from a Guardian already takes around 6 hearts, so doubling that would likely make the game near impossible to finish, especially if it has an effect similar to Skyward Sword where it makes the hearts almost non-existent, so be sure to stock up on those steaks and mushrooms if you plan on using it, if it actually comes out. Anyways, it has been revealed that the game will have a pro mode. This is similar to the feature in Skyward Sword, which cleaned up your HUD as a lot of people didn't like seeing a giant see-through Wiimote on the side of the screen. However, this time it does a bit more than clearing up your HUD. It takes away your stealth meter, temperature gauge, and a few other things, making this game a lot more challenging and difficult, as without a map on the screen you'll have a hard time finding your way around, especially with a world this big. Sneaking around is a huge part of the game as well, so trying to sneak past enemies and guardians or sneaking up on a horse will be a lot more difficult. We will also be blind on how warm or cold Link is, which will cause issues when you are in a snowy region or closing in on Death Mountain. But what are your thoughts on this pro mode? Will it be something you'll be using? And are you hoping for a hero mode as well? Beating the game using both together is definitely something only the best of Zelda players will be able to do. So let me know if you plan on taking on this challenge. Third on the list, we switch to some Switch news. Anyways, during an interview with Time, Nintendo was specifically asked about the power of the Nintendo Switch. Takahashi was the first to respond, saying, "You're asking this question to 2 individuals at Nintendo who come from an art background and the computer graphics background. We tend to be among the pushiest when it comes to graphics within the company. That being said, as we mentioned before, at Nintendo we feel like we're an entertainment company rather than necessarily a games or graphics company. Our priority is always on trying to create new and fun forms of entertainment. That's the top priority. Certainly graphic quality falls somewhere within our priority, but our feeling is that Nintendo Switch is a system that really has the best balance of being able to create fun and new ways to play, but doing so with a graphic quality that's still good enough while also being one that's easy to develop for." Kazumi then says graphics and frame rate are important in terms of how you're connecting with or how you're moving the heart of the player who's immersed in that world. Nintendo Switch also has something that can connect with that player in the form of the HD Rumble. where you can be immersed in that world, but you can actually feel in your hands the sensation of something in that world that you haven't been able to feel before, and that adds a new layer of immersion to go along with the graphics and the frame rate. I think when you start to look at the total package of tools that Nintendo Switch has to help bring those worlds to life, I think you'll find that it has some unique ways to connect with you as a player and move you in ways that you haven't necessarily experienced before. Fourth on our list is some interesting news from the same interview with Time, where Miyamoto, Takahashi, and Reggie all talk about bringing in new talent and passing the torch to a younger generation of developers, leaving them in charge of great franchises such as Mario, Zelda, Donkey Kong, and others. Takahashi begins with, Nintendo Entertainment Planning and Development. I'm overseeing all of that, but I view my role as being more of someone who's overseeing our producers. I really look at them as more of my stable of talent, and I'm their manager. That includes Mr. Miyamoto. Lately, I've enjoyed saying I'm Mr. Miyamoto's manager. Our tradition at Nintendo, and this comes from Mr. Yamauchi, is that we're not a games company, but an entertainment company. When we're making a game, the first question we always ask is how are we going to entertain the player with what we're creating? Or in something that's maybe a bit more of what you would call Kansai style. Kansai being the region of Japan where Kyoto is. How are we going to make them laugh? I don't know if I'll have to do things like Nintendo Directs going forward, as Mr. Iwata was doing all of those in front of the camera. I was behind the scenes supporting him, of course along with a number of others, but I hope that maybe I can keep that up. Reggie then says, if all of Nintendo's content creators were to be seen as a symphony, then Mr. Takahashi is our conductor. What I mean by that is, it's his decision to bring the different players in our orchestra onto a particular game or a particular initiative. He's the ultimate decision maker in what gets played by the symphony, or what gets created by Nintendo as a company. Coming from Shigeru Miyamoto, on our end, we're eventually going to have to retire, so instead of rushing and fumbling when that happens, we wanted to use the Nintendo Switch as a kind of turning point to hand over more to the younger generation. After choosing the members to be on stage, we started to think, wow, maybe we should have chosen a younger bunch of people. So what are your thoughts on what the heads of Nintendo had to say about passing on their legacy to the new generation and on the power of the Nintendo Switch? Let me know in the comments below. And finally, we come to the last topic on our list. Let's take a description of an upcoming game given by the developers. Journey through a world filled with strange artifacts and crumbling ruins to unlock its deepest mysteries. How did the machines come to dominate this world, and what happened to the civilization that came before? The answers may determine your fate and that of humanity itself. Explore a vibrant landscape rich with the beauty of nature, travel through stunningly detailed forests, imposing mountains, and the atmospheric ruins of a bygone civilization, all brought together in a world that is alive with changing weather systems and a full day and night cycle. In a lush, post-apocalyptic world where nature has reclaimed the ruins of a forgotten civilization, pockets of humanity live on in primitive hunter-gatherer tribes. Their dominion over the new wilderness has been usurped by the machines, fearsome mechanical creatures of unknown origin. And here's my personal description of the game. This is an action-adventure RPG that takes place in a stylized, giant open world where you play as a lone hero. The world is in complete ruins and overtaken by a mix of nature and an advanced technology. You have access to your own device that seems to be of the same advanced technology of that you're fighting against. You have no idea on what happened to the world, and it is your job to figure out what happened as you progress through the game. As you make your way through the game, you gain access to stronger weapons and can craft your own items in order to survive. For a moment there, some of you probably thought I was talking about Breath of the Wild, but I was actually talking about a different game entirely, Horizon Zero Dawn for the PlayStation 4. It is developed by Guerrilla Games, the same studio who brought us Killzone, but it is a completely different type of game. Being a fan of Zelda, I always look for other games similar to the series or draw inspiration from the series. In the past, we've gotten God of War and Darksiders, which are two separate franchises where the creators openly admitted to being inspired by the Zelda franchise. Now, we have another game releasing that also seems to be inspired by what Zelda has been doing. I love Zelda, but getting one home console game every 5 years or so can suck. So if you would like an experience that will feel similar to Breath of the Wild, but stand out as its own unique game, I highly recommend everyone to pick up Horizon Zero Dawn. It launches about a week before Zelda, but it may be that game that just holds you over for another few days until Zelda releases, or you can pick it up after completing Breath of the Wild. The two games are so similar, I just thought I would mention it. Let me know your thoughts on Horizon Zero Dawn and how similar it is to Breath of the Wild. What's up everybody, really quick before we get to the usual end slate, I wanted to mention a quick update for this channel. I'm trying to bring together a few new series other than the usual discussions and news videos that we do. I would like to bring quality reviews, let's plays, do more live streams, a top 10 series, and more analysis videos. videos. However, to do this, I need your help. Between being a new father, YouTube, and my real job, I don't have the time to work on all of these videos. So I'd like to bring on other people who can help out from time to time, like Sasizi and others who have helped host and edit videos before. To make this all happen, and to get awesome rewards for yourself, head over to patreon.com/GameOverJesse, where you can get shoutouts and videos, join our group Discord and chat with us whenever you want, be a guest on some of our videos, and much more. If you haven't already, please like, subscribe, and leave your thoughts in the comments below. I would like to give a huge thank you to this month's Patreons for their support: George Martinez, Glenn Cassio, Hin Hutinen, Lunarium, Magic Tech Review, The Itch Network, and Harris Priest. Thank you all for everything, and it's because of your support that I'm able to find the time to do these videos. If you would also like to support this channel, head over to patreon.com/GameOverJesse, where you can find all kinds of great rewards like joining on a video, being added onto our Discord chat, having your discussion or topic featured on one of our videos, and much more, including having your own custom artwork similar to my own, drawn of you in any anime or video game style you would like. Finally, I would like to give a huge thank you to Gnomo Designs and CS Guitar 89 for providing the music and artwork for this channel.